Suicide Squad. This is an interesting one because I'm. It's kind of hard to talk about because I saw it a couple days ago. I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about it. Uh, I guess if I had to put it in words, I'd say it's a mess, but it's a really enjoyable mess. Like overall, I enjoyed it, but there's one thing that really pisses me off, makes it hard for me to say I like it. But we'll get to that. Okay, so full disclosure before we get into the nitty gritty of this, I actually don't know much about the Suicide Squad comics. I never read them. I'm into superheroes comics for the superheroes. I don't want to. I really don't really have an interest in a comic focused on the villains being forced to work for the government because God knows there's no way that could go wrong. Seriously, this always bugged me. The Captain Atom exists. He works for the U.S. government. He's one of the most powerful superhumans in the DC universe. So, like, why would you recruit Deadshot or Killer Croc or Captain Boomerang or any of these people when you have actual soldiers who will obey orders, who have superpowers and aren't evil and psychotic and liable to kill everybody if they get a chance? Okay, that rant's out of the way. So this is probably gonna be a pretty short vlog because there's really not a lot of story in this movie. It's mainly an excuse to get all these characters together and have them do what they do. It's like that's kind of why I call it a mess. The movie feels more like a lot of cool scenes, but not really a full story. If that makes any sense. So let's get into the plot. Basically, the plot is Amanda Waller, who's a member of the government. We're not entirely some part of the defense department. We're not really given a position for her that I noticed anyway. I might have missed it. Besides that, with the death of Superman, they left out because Superman, was a good guy. Apparently, I still have my questions about that regarding the Man of Steel versus Superman. See my Batman Superman vlog from way back when. That the government needs to have a response ready. So basically, what she's going to do is she's going to recruit, enhanced individuals who are criminals and force them to work for the government. They're promised, time with the parole, and they're given them like bombs strapped to their nanite bombs strapped to put in their necks that they go out of line. Big boom. Which great plan. So for part of this, C recruits someone called Enchantress, who's a woman named June Moon, I think was her name. We don't see the civilian form a lot, who's possessed by the spirit of this super powerful enchantress from, mythological times. And Waller can make her obey her because he has her heart. Except, the evil enchantress figures out a way around that and decides to go destroy the world. Like you do. So it's up to Colonel Rick Flag, who is the lover of June, the Enchantress's human form, and the Suicide Squad, formed of Floyd Lawton, aka Deadshot, played by Will Smith. Worked a lot better than I thought he would. Comic book Deadshot is just like this really amoral, self-interested bastard. Uh, I don't think Will Smith when I think that, and they kind of heroed him up a little bit, but we'll get into that. Um, Character called Diablo, who I'll be honest, the only Diablo I know of in the DC universe is El Diablo, who's one of their Western characters, who was a guy named Lazarus Lane. When he fell asleep or was knocked unconscious, a demon would take over him, and El Diablo would come out and kill bad guys. Had a back was a backup issue in an All Star Western at one point, which you get a chance to read those. All Star Western by Jimmy Palmiotti, I think is his name. It stars Jonah Hex. Really awesome series. Check it out. All 6 trade paperbacks are on Comixology for like $10, 10, $15, something like that. Well worth reading. Highly, highly recommended. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, Suicide Squad. Seriously, All-Star Western. Read it. They're awesome. So we got Lloyd Lawton, Deadshot, Harley Quinn, who is sort of tied up with the thing that really pisses me off about this movie. We'll get to that in a little bit. Killer Croc, who they went with the whole, psychopath who eats people thing. Cool. Diablo, I mentioned. In this, he's a Mexican gangbanger who has fire powers, pyrokinetic, but he's kind of sworn himself to pacifism. Spoilers, he accidentally killed his family while having a fight with his wife. Burned down the place, killed his wife, killed his kids. And he doesn't want to fight anyone. He doesn't want to hurt anybody anymore. He's probably my favorite character in this, honestly. He's really cool. Captain Boomerang. Can't remember the name of the actor. He really doesn't come into it all that much. I feel like that's everybody. Rick Blair. I'm gonna look this up because I this is gonna bug me now. I think that's everybody. I'm gonna check. I have some notes down here on my phone and just yeah. Yeah. Okay, I remember what I forgot. There's a character, Slipshot, who basically exists to show off that the nanites really exist and get blown up. He's meaningless. I think he was a minor character in the comics. I didn't read Suicide Squad. Okay, like this is. I want the Wonder Woman movie. I didn't give a shit about this, honestly. Seriously, I want the Wonder Woman movie so bad. Like, God, let that be good. Please let that be good. So, anyways, they all come together to kind of, unlikely family forming and, save the day. Diablo, they go in there, they find out, like, story is really, really paper thin. I mean, like, even by, comic book summer blockbuster standards, like, it's basically, go kill bad person, stop them, and that's it. This movie's really carried on the cool visuals and the characters, in my mind. So I'm not going to talk too much about the story too much, because I saw this like 2 days ago, and the story's already kind of fading in my mind because it's so almost irrelevant, because it's just so paper thin. Like, the villain is so generic and boring. It's just this evil force of nature thing. Cool scene where she offers them all like their fantasies. Like, Deadshot is, kills Batman and is with his daughter. Harley Quinn and the Joker having a normal life and like are married, which is creepy as fuck. Again, something I'll tie into later. Um, so yeah, basically, sees a bomb goes off, a city's being destroyed, sees doing bad things. Suicide Squad, aka Task Force X, are sent in to stop it. Fight her. Her foot soldiers are like zombies, basically. Cool design on the foot soldier villains. Worked their way through the city. They find out that this is something they're being sent in to cover up the government screw up, basically. Um, and that's they go. They eventually stop the bad guy. So there are actually a lot of things I liked about this. Again, I love Diablo's character arc. Him coming that he hurt his family with his power. He's scared of his power. He doesn't want to hurt anybody else. He just basically swore himself to pacifism. And at the end, when the world's in danger, he steps up and says, he's found a new family with the Suicide Squad after knowing them for like 12 hours. You see what I mean about the story being kind of thin? This movie's a mess, but it was enjoyable. And fights Enchantress turns like this big pyrokinetic fire demon thing, which I have no idea where that came from, but cool as hell. Um, but cool bit they fight. Um, he's probably my favorite character. I like that arc. So what else? This movie confirms a theory of mine. I'd really like Ben Affleck as Batman if he wasn't directed and written by Zack Snyder. It wasn't directed by Zack Snyder and written by like David Goyer. Because he's here for like maybe 5 minutes, if that, and he feels like Batman. He's smart. He's intimidating. He's kind and compassionate. Like all these wonderful contradictions of the character. Like he's the one who captures Deadshot and puts him in prison, and Waller leaks information, lets him find him, and Deadshot's like this, you know, infamous assassin. So Deadshot's out with his daughter, shopping, being around her. He's separated from his ex-wife, who he claims isn't good for her. They say he's like, the daughter's taking care of the mother more than the mother taking care of the daughter. Batman, does the swoops down out of nowhere and just comes up, and it's so cool. It's so well done. And Deadshot turns around and is ready to fight, and just, Batman, don't make me do this in front of your daughter. I don't want to do this in front of your daughter. And just that moment of kindness and sympathy, that was so missing from Batman Superman. I'm sorry, I don't want to rant on it again. I did a 35-minute video where I talk about how much I hate it. But it's worth repeating. Or, he's the one who brings in Harley Quinn, and like it shows him, seeing up Joker crashes a car into like the river. He dives in, he pulls her out, and he checks her pulse, and she's not breathing. So he goes in to do CPR. It's like, yes, he's trying to. All life is sacred. All life matters. It just feels like Batman, and I like Affleck as an actor. And post credit scene, I'm not going to spoil, but again, just such a great Batman moment from him. And that's really like Deadshot's, like I said, they heroed him up from the comics a little bit. Comic Deadshot is pretty much, again, he cares a bit for his daughter, if I remember correctly, but he's pretty much amoral and self-centered. What will bring me the best benefit? Like, there's a bit where Waller offers to free him if he kills Harley Quinn when she's escaping. Deadshot in the movie takes the shot and misses on purpose. Comic Deadshot would have shot her dead. It's I get why they hero them up a little bit. Like I don't think audiences would go for something that dark and twisted right now. Uh, it ties into my big piss off of the movie. So, and he's got some good character arc going, and him and Harley Quinn and Diablo are kind of the only ones with a real arc, and Rick Flag are kind of the only ones with a real arc. So their characters, Flags is, he wants to save the woman he loves, and ultimately, he decides he has to kill her to save the world. He crushes the heart, and he's told this will destroy June. Uh, it doesn't. They're back, and I really like them together. They're cute. They're cute together to me. Two really damaged people coming together. I find them kind of cute. Uh, so he was really good. Diablo's one of my favorite characters. Will Smith as Deadshot is just so damn likable. Margot Robbie does a pretty good job as Harley Quinn, I think. Jared Leto as Joker, I don't like that much, but he's barely in it. Loved Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. Like, she was just pitch perfect. Like, oh my, you buy this woman is nicknamed the Wall. Like, she is a tough lady. Like, you are frightened of her, and you should be. So this movie has some great action, a good soundtrack, even if a little on the nose at points. Some pretty good characters. Like I said, Diablo's arc is great. I love Will Smith as Deadshot is just so enjoyable. Margot Robbie is really kind of fun and charming as Harley Quinn. Viola Davis and Amanda Waller, like those people were really awesome. But I can't really say, overall I enjoy it, but there's one thing that really bugs me. And I'm going to need to put on my social justice warrior hat on this one. But here goes. The Joker and Harley Quinn's relationship. Basically, in the comics, in the cartoon, that animated series where Harley debuted, just about every other bit of media I've ever seen them in, the relationship has, at its very, very best, at the very brightest, has been severely twisted and fucked up and unhealthy. And quite often, it's been explicitly abusive. Hell, the comic story Mad Love, which was later adapted into an excellent episode of the animated series, pretty much was just showing the cycle of abuse and how people get pulled into abusive relationships and how they keep getting pulled back in, just how much of a psychological hold the abuser has on them. And it's heartbreaking and terrifying and fascinating and just it feels kind of important to me to show these things, to show the darker sides of the world and relationships, and just these exist and people need to be aware of it. And half the time it feels like the movie's going for that and showing how screwed up it is and how unhealthy and abusive it is. And then the other half is it's trying to portray this cute and quirky and a fucking Zoe Deschanel movie, and people are buying it. It seems like I'm seeing my stepbrother saw the movie before me. Love my stepbrother to death. He's a good guy. I like him. Love him to death. He said he thought they were really cute and charming, and he really liked them together. And I'm seeing like pictures on the internet with screenshots of the two together and hashtag relationship goals. I'm not okay with this. I am really not okay with this. It feels wrong to me. Like not in terms of canonicity, not in terms of who these characters are, although it is wrong in that sense. It feels morally repugnant to me to take something that shows an abusive, unhealthy, dangerous, damaging relationship and normalizing it. Hell, glorifying it, making it seem like something to aspire to. And I don't know. It just, am I crazy? Am I going nuts? I think, it's important to, you don't see a lot of abusive relationships shown long term in media. At least I don't. And I think it is important to show. For similar reasons, I say it's important to have gay characters and you know people of different ethnicities and religions and things, because these exist and they're real and they're in the world and they need to be shown and addressed. And in the case of like abusive relationships, yeah, Joker and Harley Quinn's a little exaggerated somewhat, because you hear about people dying from abusive relationships in media and news and whatever. But it's they exist. People are in these relationships. People fall into these relationships in similar ways to what's shown. The abuser seems so kind and caring, and he or she's like the only one who understands you and appreciates you, and loves you for who you are. And then you fail and you make them angry, and they need to express it and let you know. But if you just try harder, you can make it better. And you keep trying, and then eventually it gets too much, and then they apologize, and they're so sorry, and desperate to have you back because they love you so much. And so you go back, and it all starts again. This happens, and I think you need to show it, and I don't think you should. I don't think taking something that shows that and goes into how ugly and awful it is and glorifying it is right. It just feels wrong to me in every conceivable way. I'm sorry this isn't one of my more funny or entertaining ones. Like, this isn't like Batman Superman where I gotta amp up the rates to be funny. Like, this generally upsets me and feels like I said, this goes outside just it's not how it is in the comics. This just feels wrong on a moral level. And maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm going too deep. It's just a movie, but that's how I feel. And they just like they show her Joker torturing her and manipulating her, and it feels like they're almost playing as something kind of kinky and sexy. It's like, fuck you. Just if you're gonna try to sexualize like abuse or manipulation like that, fuck you. That's okay. So, these were my rambly, ranty thoughts on Suicide Squad. They were disjointed and confused, and kind of like the movie story a little bit. So if anyone watches this and you have your opinions, feel free to share them in the comments. Talk to you later, folks. Actually, one last thing I want to get into. It's kind of interesting looking at the patterns of DC expanded universe for me. Man of Steel, I didn't like, but I thought there were some good ideas, and I was like, I was left not hopeful, but like maybe something good can be built from this. Batman v Superman, loathe entirely. I see nothing redeemable in it. It's why I haven't seen the Ultimate Edition. I can't imagine any way this can be made good. Suicide Squad, overall enjoyed, except for one thing that really pisses me off, which is an improvement so far. So maybe Wonder Woman will be the one that finally is finally just straight up good. What do you think, Evie? You think it's gonna happen? You're right. We can only hope. So those are my thoughts. Take care.